What's going on, Jets fans? Welcome into NYJ Today. In this video, we're going to be breaking down guard Brandon Scherff of the Washington football team. He is set to become a free agent in just a few weeks now, and we need to be asking ourselves, should the Jets be, and should Joe Douglas pursue signing this big free agent to fill one of our most glaring needs? Let's get after it. To start this video off, we're just going to be taking a look at his 2020 snaps and his percentages. So in 2020, Brandon Scherff did go down with an injury in week 2, only playing 44% of the snaps, and then missed weeks 3, 4, and 5 thereafter. But after week 5, he was a week-to-week starter. Every single week he was in, and he was playing nearly all the snaps in those games, only left the field in weeks 12 and 13, but every other game, 100% of the offensive snaps. So very impressive 2020 season. He is an excellent run blocker, good pass protector. So we could really use somebody like Brandon Scherff in our offense without a doubt, especially if they are healthy. Okay, so here we're going to look at his snap percentages for his entire career so far. We just looked at 2020. It looks like he played about 79% of the snaps, and that's including the weeks that he did not play. And a little bit of a trend here and a little bit of a concern. So after his first and second years where he played 100% of the snaps and 99% of the snaps, it has been up and down thereafter. So we're looking at 86% of the snaps in 2017, 50% of the snaps in 2018, 69% in 2019, and then again 2020, 79% of the snaps. So as I've mentioned in other videos about offensive linemen in free agency, one of the key ingredients to having great or excellent offensive line play is chemistry. And when you're looking at Brandon Scherff, you know he's a great player because when he's on the field, it impacts the Washington football team's ability to throw and to run the football. But I'm a little bit concerned about seeing this over the last 4 seasons where he has missed games. The most games that he's played in was 4 years ago, and that was in 2017, playing 14 games, starting in 14 of those. He's also missed time. He's missed half the season in 2018, missed 5 more games in 2019, missed 3 more in 2020. So it's a trend with Brandon Scherff. He's going to miss games, and I think that the expectation when you're signing somebody like this, you are not going to be counting on him to play all 16 games. If you do, highly risky. Again, we know what a productive player he is at the guard position and how he can impact the game, but his health is 100% a red flag, and the proof is in the pudding when you look at these stats. And as always, when you're looking at offensive linemen, you have to look at their penalties because they are the position that I would say can commit the most penalties on the offense. It's just common for offensive linemen to have infractions, or to at least have the most infractions on the offensive side of the football. When you're looking at Brandon Scherff, 2020 only had 2 penalties the entire season. However, in 2019, only playing in 11 games, 9 penalties. It's a pretty high number, actually, if you think about it. 9 infractions in only 11 games played. It means he's almost, averaging a penalty a game. When we look back at 2016, 2016 had 18 penalties that season as well. He tends to be up and down. He has really good seasons where he's only like 2 or less as far as the penalties go. But then he also has these 2 outliers where he's popping way up and having a bunch of penalties. It looks like holding is his main infraction, and holding is a big time penalty. Pre-snap penalties are never good. Coaches are always going to talk about limiting those. But when you're talking about holding, you're taking away potentially big plays that happen on the football field. So it's a little bit concerning to see those spikes in his penalties. But again, we can't argue about the talent that he has. We can see that he's made 4 Pro Bowls during his career, and that's with even missing time. Back in 2019, he missed 5 games, still made the Pro Bowl. So this is a very talented offensive lineman. I think that this is a risky move to make because we've seen some of these little red flags, the penalties kind of popping up as an issue in some seasons, and then also the injuries that we've seen as well. So to summarize on a few things, I do think Brandon Scherff is super talented and would upgrade our offensive line play. The big concern that I have here is a couple of things. Number one, penalties. We've seen that they spike in his career. I'm very concerned about his injuries. We've seen that he does not stay healthy. Over the past 4 years, he has not started 16 games. That's just not been a part of who he is. And I think that the cost is going to be great. I don't think that he's going to come cheap, even with those red flags. I think some teams are going to be desperate enough to pay for him and to pay for his services. So I think there's a couple of options that I prefer. I prefer signing Corey Linsley to fill the center hole and then moving Connor McGovern to guard. I still prefer going after Joe Thuney, even though I think he's going to be the most expensive guard in free agency. I would still prefer him because I feel like he's a safer option. And then actually there's another option I prefer too, which is to draft guard Wyatt Davis at 23 overall from Ohio State. I think that when you're drafting a guard, you need somebody who's obviously young, who's talented, and who's physical and has all the physical traits to be a successful player in the NFL. And I think Wyatt Davis has proven that in his time at Ohio State. So there's multiple options that I prefer. If the New York Jets sign Brandon Scherff, am I going to be sitting here and acting like I'm upset? Absolutely not. The only way that would happen is if they spend way too much money, overspend, kind of like a McCagnon kind of signing, just showing complete desperation to sign somebody. I don't think that that's the route that Joe Douglas will take. I don't think he's going to go for Brandon Scherff. I don't think that I would go for Brandon Scherff. But I would like to hear what you guys have to say about him. I want to know, would you go after Brandon Scherff? Is this the guy that you think would be the right fit for not only this team, but for the scheme that we're going to be running with this 49ers Shanahan type of offense? So let me know what you guys think in the comments about Brandon Scherff. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching NYJ Today. So, as always, please jet up the like button, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. There's going to be more and more content uploaded to the channel as we move through the off-season. We're getting closer and closer to free agency. The draft is a little more than a month away, so stay tuned for more content. And as always, go Jets.